Number 13, and I am blessed to be joined here with Mo Wadhwani, who is the co-founder of AthletiFreak. We're going to get into what that brand is all about. I was fortunate enough to meet Mo and his wife Noor in, I think it was 2021, and met them at Lifetime, and I was literally obsessed with their brand to the point where I bought multiple hoodies, I bought their jackets. I love everything about their brand, their attention to detail, and just the two of them as people. They are just amazing, amazing people. And that is why I wanted to bring Mo here. He's an authentic, just amazing person with an incredible background. So welcome, Mo. I'm just going to ask a little bit to tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, Radia, to start with, thank you for that. I absolutely remember that first meeting. I remember back in circa 2021 when we first got started, and everyone that showed us love and bought that first hoodie or that second hoodie, that meant the world to us, right? Because at that point, all we had was one hoodie and one t-shirt and some cartons, and we'd pack it in the back of our truck and we'd go and do a pop-up. And everyone that supported that new challenger brand at that point, that was everything. That was everything, and will always be so close to our heart. So it's so sweet of you to say that, and thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So tell me a little bit, I know we want to kind of go down a little bit of a journey of kind of how you started the brand, but just a little bit about your background. Obviously with you and Noor doing the business together and your two kids, and just a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. So you touched on it, right? Most importantly, I'm a husband and a father. Noor and I have been married now almost 16 years. We'll be hitting our 16-year anniversary in a couple of weeks. We have two children. Our son, Rehan, is going to be 15 tomorrow. Our daughter, Suhana, is 12. And what has been incredible about this AthletiFreak journey is that the four of us have been on it together since day one. You're talking about everywhere from design to marketing to packing boxes to fulfillment to now store visits and those things. If you just think about the last 4 years of this journey, the four of us have been on it together, and that has been really special for us. Outside of family, I have a corporate background, so a little over 20 years in corporate. Started in pharma, went into industrial manufacturing. Last 12 of which I was an executive, CFO, and COO, and then being able to run business units and organizations ranging anywhere from a couple $100 million up to $3 billion. Had organizations up to 3,000 or so employees. So I've had a very, very strong corporate background, a strong business background, and that has really allowed me to pull a lot of my strengths, competencies, capabilities, how I did it in corporate, and now take this startup entrepreneurial spirit that I have and find that sweet spot of how do you bring them together? How do you take the values and the learnings and the key competencies from corporate? How do you take that energy and that fire of startup and bring them together to really optimize it?
That's an incredible background to have to start the business.
It's a phenomenal background. It was also very hard, right? Because if you think about having that background, that career profile, how do you walk away from that to start something fresh? How do you give that up? How do you give up that security? How do you give up that stability to start from zero? And fortunately, Noor and I were lockstep in that. We were just one-to-one. We saw eye to eye, and we said, "This is what we believe in. We truly, truly have conviction that we can create something here together if we're all in." And as long as we're together and we understand what that means and what that takes, we go all in.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like I've talked about it a few times with different people about the golden handcuffs, right? It's like you have this beautiful background, this job, and you have a family, and it's like, I'm gonna jump ship, but that's the most important, right? That you both were super aligned in starting and getting started.
It's so important, right? And it's not only when it comes to business, but just in terms of raising a family. It's been now 16 years, and we can truly say that yes, we're husband and wife. More importantly, we're best friends. And
I love that.
When you take on a venture like this, you're literally spending 24/7, 365 together. So there's nothing we're not doing together at this point. And that can either make you or break you. And we're very fortunate that we had a strong relationship and most importantly, a strong respect for each other at the onset. And that respect and understanding of each other has only grown. Now, sure, we had to get to know each other in a very different dimension. We knew each other as husband and wife and parent and friend. And then we had to get to know each other professionally. And there was some schmuck there. And we had some moments, but again, as long as our foundation of respect and friendship was intact, we were able to keep building on it.
Oh, I love that so much. And for your children, I can imagine this has taught them so much too, watching you work together, watching just the work ethic, being part of something really great and watching it grow.
Absolutely. Most certainly. I mean, when we launched our first YouTube video, this is as we were getting ready to launch the brand. I mean, Noor and I didn't know how to do any of that. And at that point, we asked our 10-year-old son to help us load the
Oh
first
my
YouTube
gosh.
video, and he figured it out for us. And
No way.
and here we are now, 4 or so years later, and they're as integrated in the brand as can be. I mean, and that's really so, right? Every car ride, every dinner conversation, if we go out to breakfast or brunch or whatever it might be, it almost turns into a board meeting because this is all we walk, live, breathe, everything. And again, that can be frustrating to some. It can be like, oh my God, can we talk about something else? In our case, we love it. We love it. And so we enjoy just this full immersion of being all in it.
Love that. I remember actually my favorite green hoodie when I ordered it, and I remember meeting you guys at Bridgewater next to the Lifetime, and you were with your kids and Nora, and like handed it off to me, and I was like, "This is so cool. This is really a family affair."
Yeah, that's how the first, gosh, I wish I could still do it even now. If I can, I will. We used
Yeah.
to deliver as many of our shipments as possible because again,
Unbelievable.
you're looking at how you can be most efficient with everything. And we went into it with the mindset of, oh, we can save on shipping costs. What we actually gained from it was we had a personal relationship, a personal connection with everyone that was wearing AthletiFreak. And the real value we gain from it is not we saved 5, 7, 10, whatever dollars on shipping. We built relationships. And I think that's what's been the most special about how AthletiFreak has grown. It's been the authenticity and it's been the relationships that have really formed one between us and the community, but amongst the community now. I'll get these random messages on either social or even text messages and emails saying, I was at dinner and someone showed me their shirt and then I took my jacket off and showed them my shirt and we're going to go work out together at some, like things like that.
It's so
It's been so special just to watch the community continue to grow and build out.
Yeah, that's funny. I was actually at my CrossFit gym in Princeton, and there was a guy walked by, and then I saw he had the AthletiFreak, and I was like, "Oh, did you go to Lifetime?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, you like their stuff?" I was like, "Their stuff's amazing, right?" We're like, I was like, "Yeah, I'm waiting for the more colors so I can order more hoodies," and it was like we had this like common bond.
You love that. I love that. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, super cool. So just can you tell me a little bit about how when you were saying making the jump, like how did the vision even start? Like the brand name, it's a strong brand name, right? Which is really cool.
So it started dating back, right, my corporate life. We were essentially relocating every 12 to 18 months. So companies would relocate me for my profession, and essentially I was known as the fixer. I would go into different business units that either needed
Oh, wow.
attention to right size them or to help them improve and essentially streamline and find efficiencies, or they were getting ready for a growth trajectory and needed someone that could be a catalyst for that. And essentially that was my
Oh, wow.
reputation. So one of our moves was to Austin, Texas. And during the weekend while we were in Austin, Texas, house hunting, I see hundreds of people at the airport with a tattoo and a logo on their backpacks. And it turned out to be Iron Man. And that was the weekend of Ironman Austin. I had no clue what triathlon was. I had no clue what Ironman was. I was very active and fit, and I played sports, and I liked to run, but I didn't know about that world. Although I saw consistency across these hundreds of people, and they're all incredibly fit. So I actually went up to one of them and said, "What is this?" what's going on here? And he's like, oh, Ironman, you should check out the website. So I look it up and I go to the website and I'm like, that looks really hard. Uh, I want it. I want in. I want to try this. I want to do this. So during that move to Texas, that move to Austin, I adopted triathlon as a sport. And I said, you know what? I don't have a bike. I don't know how to swim. I can play in the water, but I don't know how to swim. I can run. So I'm going to sign up for an Ironman. And
Oh my
did
gosh.
that during my training journey. And then so now you have this, say, corporate executive, this family guy, and I'm adding into it training for an Ironman. And everyone was just like, what you just said, right? It's insane. So everyone was like, you're a freak. What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? You're talking about family, friends, relatives, everyone. You're a freak. And I was doing it with a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, and I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then you have this voice that says, freak, freak, like, what's wrong with you? And it almost started to turn into a negative because of that feedback, which is the worst thing you want, right? Because everything comes back to mindset and mentality, and something can be good or bad depending on how you view it. You wear blue
Yeah.
glasses, the world is blue. You wear red glasses, the world is red. And so it started to create this negative energy in me of, are you doing something wrong? Nonetheless, kept going with it. One of the mornings, it's like 4 a.m. I'm having my oatmeal, getting ready to go out for an 8-hour training day. And this concept of freak is going around in my head. And I kind of had this epiphany moment, like whatever you call it, divine intervention is what it was,
Yeah.
where I think, you know what? Me being a freak is the best possible thing that could have happened. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I'm more effective as a father, as a husband, and as a professional than I've ever been. Our kids at that point were 5 and 3 or so, running 5Ks. Our son had just finished his first 5K at the age of 4. Uh,
Oh my gosh, no
yeah,
way.
it was
That's
wild.
amazing.
It was wild. And I had this moment where I was like, if that's what it means to be a freak, then absolutely I am. I embrace that. And
Yeah.
I went and woke Noor up at 4 o'clock and said, we're going to make a brand that's going to celebrate and empower movement. It's going to bring people together in the spirit of movement. And it's just going to bring positivity to this concept of being freakishly passionate. She woke up at 4 o'clock. Now, Noor has a fashion design background. The woman is just a creative genius, but she has
I
a
can
fashion
tell you.
background. And she was never able to build out her professional career because we were moving so frequently. And so she was very entrepreneurial on her end, and she used to do interiors digitally, something that didn't exist back then, but she was very good at it. Uh, and she was so excited with the idea. And at 4 a.m., she pops right up and says, let's do it. We're going to make a brand. And that's where it started. It started with just this light bulb at 4 a.m. saying, let's celebrate a freakish passion and use that to empower people, bring people together. And we started building.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Now, I have to ask this question just because it's been more on top of mind for even for myself, but are you guys meditators, manifestors, anything like that? Or you're just vision, professional, write it out, execute?
No, no, I think the spirituality and meditation is an integral. It's the foundation of our life, to be honest. That gives us all of the stability, clarity that carries us through the good times and, more importantly, the hard times. Um, there's a saying that is very, I think it's very impactful, and essentially you have this teacher and a student, and the student says, what can you share with me so that I can make it through the good times and the bad, the hard times and the easy, and maintain that balance. And he says, never forget, this too shall pass. So whether you're on a high or you're on a low, you never want to get swayed by that. You want to be able to stay balanced, stay consistent. And that's just with the understanding that hey, if you're on a high, it's not going to last forever. Similarly, if you're at a low, it's not going to last forever. So hustle
Yeah.
through it, work through it, and stay positive, right? It comes back to that mentality, that mindset.
It definitely does. I mean, that's interesting when you say that. I try to remind people too when they're in that things start to go down this decline. It's like think back to the last time there was a decline, and then when there was the up, right? It's always there.
I mean,
But for
stillness
you,
and clarity is just so important.
what is it? What in clarity?
Stillness and clarity, and you can only get clarity from stillness. And when you ask about the practice of meditation, what is meditation, right? It's the practice of bringing stillness to your mind. Because otherwise we're go, 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 go. We're moving so fast. We have so many things to do. There's so many thoughts and ideas popping through our heads and our lives and whatnot. And how do you take all of that and just bring silence and stillness, and through that find clarity?
I feel like we all probably struggle with it. I know even for myself, trying to meditate, I've been doing it for a couple months now, and it's amazing. I think people have different views of what meditation is, that you have to have zero thoughts. But I think, like you said, when we're go, go, go and feeling like just, it's just things are never ending, and it's the hustle and it's the hamster wheel. You want to be mindful and present too in the moment. I'm sure you guys have had many present and mindful moments, especially celebrating the wins too.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. There's enough challenges out there where you have to be very conscious of where you put your energy, where you commit your energy. And in doing so, you're able to absorb the punches, and also use that positive energy to celebrate the win.
Mindset was big. That's something I talk about a lot, mindset and positivity. And I'm obsessed with that, and just having a positive mindset as often as possible. I think that's what, if everyone could work towards that, that's where you see success. But what do you do? How do you focus on mindset all the time, even through the tough things?
Yeah, and just to add to what you said, I wouldn't say mindset is important. I would say mindset is everything. If once you lose that inner strength, everything comes crumbling down. So it all starts there, right? And one of the main things that we share through AthletiFreak is greatness lies within. It has to start from within. Your light, your energy, your power, your superpower, what we call it is your inner freak. That's essentially giving us direction for how we conduct our lives. And how do I maintain that? I mean, to be honest with you, I'm blessed. I have an amazing family. We are very supportive of one another, and we have our faith, and all of that coming together essentially just gives us a sense of gratitude. And if one is grateful for everything that they're blessed with, what's there to not be happy about? What's there to not be positive about? I mean, yes, there's ups and downs and highs and lows on a day-to-day basis, but big picture, we're healthy, we're loved. What more can we ask for?
Absolutely. And you were saying that, I was thinking exactly that, a practice of gratitude. And I think that is so important for all of us to be grateful, and it helps you stay positive when you're thinking of all the things that are wrong. It's easy to go down the other way, right? And so being grateful for all the things around you. I think also being positive and being grateful and having that mindset, there is a direct connection between that and your health, taking care of you.
Certainly.
Exercise, nutrition, all that.
They're direct parallels. So when you asked about meditation, right, there's a spiritual form of meditation, which is finding stillness by not doing anything. What I find as a parallel to that is when, and that's one of the reasons why I've gotten so immersed into endurance activities and endurance sports, is because for me that's a form of active meditation, where if I'll go out for anywhere 8, 12, 15, 20, whatever mile run it is, it takes the first few miles to just find a rhythm, right? And then eventually you start to hear your breath and feel your heartbeat. And I'll never run with headphones. So when I'm
I was
running,
going to ask you that.
yeah, so I never listen to music. It doesn't matter how long my run is, I'm never listening to music. because for me, that's an opportunity to take those first few miles, to have all of that scatteredness running through my mind. But then once I break through that, and I know I will, it's just absolute liberation, freedom, and stillness through movement, which is incredible. And some of the most powerful, impactful, creative moments of clarity that I'll have will be at that 8, 15, 18-mile marker where I'm feeling peace, I'm feeling stillness. And that's where, if you ask me about the connection or the parallel between physical movement and non-movement, right? They both eventually take you to the same place, because you're at one with your core.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
different
wow.
for everyone, right? For me, it might be running or cycling or swimming. For someone else, it might be yoga. For
Yeah.
someone else, it might be 1 hour intense CrossFit session where they're essentially taking themselves to the wall, breaking themselves down to be able to build up from. And that's the beauty of movement. Everyone has a different flavor, a different way of doing it. But aren't we essentially doing the same thing? You're breaking, 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 breaking so that you can rebuild.
I love that analogy. That's super powerful, and definitely something I agree with, right? It's not saying, oh, well, Mo runs, I got to go run like he does, right? Do a marathon, do an Ironman. It's doing any type of thing, whether it's a fast walk and a jog, do something and just move.
Yeah.
I feel like we become, unfortunately, even being laid up when I was like injured, it was just 5 days, and I was like, I can't do this mentally, physically. I have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Just, you will go on a long run like that with no headphones.
No phone, no headphones. Noor hates it because if I get injured or anything happens to me out there, she has no idea where I am. But
Oh my gosh.
I need that. I mean, because otherwise, I'll be honest with you, the ding and the buzz of the phone is literally nonstop, 24/7. There's
Yeah.
always something or someone trying to hit you, and I need to be able to just be free.
Yeah.
And again, everyone has different channels, different ways of doing that. For me, I need to go and kind of disengage to be able to
Yeah.
re-engage stronger.
That's great. How often do you run?
I mean, between swim, bike, and run, it's effectively every day.
Oh wow, so that's great. I thought it was so interesting when you said like that Ironman, doing the Ironman and the triathlons and not knowing how to swim and then just learning.
Isn't that life? Right? You find things you want to do and you don't know how, and you learn how.
Was there a fear around swimming?
Oh, I still have a fear of swimming. I still have a fear of
No
swimming,
way.
especially open water. I'm absolutely not comfortable with it. By choice, I wouldn't do it. Yet by choice, I do it. But no, I'm still not that's by far my least favorite discipline. But it's
Oh wow.
by doing it that you're like, hey, I can do it. Why not?
Yeah. Trying to do those scary things. I'm with you on the open water thing. Put me in a pool. I love it, but that's great. So just going back to a little bit to the brand, because I do want to get into some questions about you and more about your family. So this is my first impression, right? When I saw the brand, I was like, wow, you and Nora are amazing people. I think that is it. I think that's a huge part. You believe in your product and your mission and everything, and people feel that. I certainly did. And then someone sees, that you have a retail store, that's a whole nother thing I would love to get more insight on. That's incredible in the 4 to 5 years where everyone is getting rid of brick and mortar and you guys are building them, which is amazing. But just going back to your brand, when you started with the black hoodies, can you share the price point they're not cheap, but they're most amazing quality products ever. So just if you could, if you were to explain to someone the why behind why the price point's a little bit higher than an average hoodie, I can't explain it. I would love for you to explain that.
I think you just did. There's really not much more I ever will say or need to say beyond that. And in fact, one of the reasons why brick and mortar was important for us is because you can go online and on an impulse buy, pick up a $10 t-shirt or a $20 t-shirt or hoodie or whatever and not think twice about it. But guess what? You're going to wear it once or twice and then you're going to use it to wash your car. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when someone touches and feels and realizes the quality and what they're getting.
Oh my gosh.
And more importantly, right, the product is one thing. The other is the persona that it represents and how individuals are resonating with what the brand stands for and the community that it represents. Once they taste that, there's nothing like it. And being physically present, brick and mortar, creates that arena, right? It creates a gateway to that arena. And that's why that was so important, right? To be able to build those relationships. And as far as the price point of the product, et cetera, I mean, in your question itself, you answered that question, right?
Yeah.
So not much more to say beyond that.
I didn't need to buy a coat for the winter to go to the gym, and I stopped like 4 years ago. I just wear the hoodie. That's it, because it's like the inside of it is like an Uggs boot. That's how I would describe it. It's so amazing. So what? So that makes a lot of sense. The brick and mortar being so important. Someone going to a retail location so they can actually like feel, touch the product, try it on. What was the idea behind? When did that start, and how many? Because you're at 6 now, which is incredible.
6, yeah. So our first 2 years. I mean, look at where we started. Yeah, we'll be 4 years old in 3 months. So we're not even 4 years old yet. Our first 2 years, when we started day one, it was one hoodie, one T-shirt, and stock in our garage, in one of our garages. And that's what we went to market with. And then we did a pop-up, and we were like, hey, when people touch and feel this, they really love it. Let's do another one. And then essentially for our first 2 years, we did pop-ups just about every weekend. So you're looking at 2 years, 100 weekends. We did 100 pop-ups. And
oh my
we'd pack the trunk and we'd pack the kids into the car and we'd go do pop-ups every Saturday morning. And that allowed us to grow from one hoodie and one T-shirt to about almost 75 products over those 2 years, just because every time we would do one of these, not only were members of the community able to touch and feel the product and fall in love with it, but we also got to know them. And they shared with us what they were looking for and what they needed and what they wanted. And that fed our product development to say, okay, this is what we need to add into our portfolio. And so it was a very symbiotic relationship where we grew with each other. And over those 2 years, we continued to build, and very quickly had that realization that based on the segment that we're in and based on the type of product and the quality we're offering, this needs to be in person. It cannot be digital. It cannot be only digital. It needs to be a touch and feel type of place. We need to create a gateway to this community. And so at about the 1.5 year mark or so, we started looking for our first retail opportunity. We're based in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Bridgewater is the town right next to us and has one of the bigger malls in the area, which is a nice mall. So being naive that I am, or simplistic in my thinking that I am, I said, you know what? I'm going to go to their management office and tell them I want to open a store in their mall. And that's not something you do. Like you don't do that. But the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So if I want to do something with the Bridgewater Commons Mall, I'm going to go talk to the Bridgewater Commons Mall. Went and talked to them, said we want to open a space. They looked at me like I was absolutely crazy and said, what? People don't do this. You don't just walk in and say you want to open a store. But nonetheless, we kind of went through the process a little bit in November of 22. So we're actually just about to hit our 2 year mark anniversary in retail. November of 22, we opened our first brick and mortar in Bridgewater. Since then until now, just a little under 2 years, we are now up to 6 brick and mortars. And essentially our motto is just brick by brick. And so we call it brick 1, brick 2, brick 3, brick 4, etc. And brick by brick, we're building a legacy.
I never mentioned anything, but when I went to visit the Bridgewater store for the first time, that's where I bought like one of my jackets. And then I saw the bracelet that said brick 1, and I was like, brick 1 of how many?
Exactly.
I thought it was going to be the only store. And where are the other locations, the other 5?
So we've got Bridgewater Commons. We just opened actually a couple of weeks ago in the Short Hills Mall, Garden State Plaza in Paramus,
oh wow,
Menlo Park Mall, Willowbrook in Wayne, and being that we're from Basking Ridge, we wanted our HQ to be in Basking Ridge. So we opened up a showroom with an HQ just a mile down the road in Basking Ridge.
And the stores are, I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. I love that they're doing events there too. So you tell me a little bit about the events that you do at the stores. I know it's on your page too.
Absolutely. Look,
Which I'll link.
we're never going to get away from it. We're a brand that wants to integrate and represent our community. And so we host complimentary community workouts and community events at our retail locations. Again, it's a gateway for people to learn and explore and discover. And there's nothing better than bringing people together to sweat and have a little fun and build energy together.
I love that. Can you share a story of a biggest challenge, biggest failure, how you were, and whether it's, whether it's building the brand or just overall, like making the leap of faith into building this brand, and what did you learn from it, or what advice would you give to someone that wants to take a leap and do something on their own? Because there's a lot of people that have these ideas and are terrified.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great question, right? About challenge, difficulty, failure. I'm probably the worst person to ask that question to, though. And I have difficulty believing in this concept of failure. I don't think it exists. Does that mean everything we do works great? No, absolutely not. We've had several instances where we try something and it just doesn't go as planned. And sometimes it hurts. And you could refer to that, you could call that failure, or you figure out how to solve it. And I'm very solution oriented. That's just how I'm wired. That's what I do. So what's more important than doing something is when you see it's not working, how quickly can you adapt? How agile can you be in course correcting, solving that problem and making something better out of it? And every single day, something or the other is going to go wrong. That's life.
Yeah.
What I think we do very well is optimize it, make the most of it, stay positive, and then figure out how to make it better. And that's what we do. So whether it's one of our retail locations not performing the way we initially wanted it to, okay, what do we need to do? Do we need to re-merchandise it? Do we need to bring in stronger people? Do we need to focus more on marketing initiatives out there? Do we need to swap out the product assortment within that store based on the market that it's hitting? There's always something, right? You put a product line out there.
Yeah.
You put two product lines out there. One of them just explodes and is a rocket ship. The other one has a slow start. Does it mean it's a bad product? No, it doesn't mean it's a bad product. It just means you need to merchandise it, market it, communicate it, educate on it a little bit better. So there's nothing's ever going to be perfect. But if you adopt this principle of continuous improvement, there is no failure because you're always improving and getting better.
Sound like that. So that was a big part of your background even before the brand. So what you share too is, because a lot of people, right, they think like, oh, being positive and all that positivity, how do you not have any failures, right? But I really think it's exactly going back to what you said earlier. It's mindset. It's how are you going to look at it? Is this an obstacle that you're going to overcome and learn from? I think there's lessons in life in every single thing, every single bad thing that's happened to me. There's a lesson out of it, something to learn.
If we expect the world to be rainbows and unicorns and perfect, and we're unrealistic. And if that's our expectation, we will continuously be disappointed because that's not reality. But if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and grind and just solve problems, there is no failure because you solve it and you fix it and you move forward.
Absolutely. Now, how do you, in the business, obviously, as it's growing with, you said you've got 40 employees, how are you handling those setbacks and those challenges? Are you hiring for culture and your passions? How do you keep that all cohesive? Because now you don't have the one-on-one touch every single day with every single customer.
That's right. So it's very important for us because that guest experience, that relationship, that touch point with the eventual guest is so important. It's so important to us and we really, really value it. So whomever is especially on that front line for us in our retail arenas, they're representing us. Right? Yes, there's the brand, but they're representing Noor and I and the fingerprint, the thumbprint that we've put with AthletiFreak. So we're we're very, very selective with our team members culturally. They have to fit the energy and the passion and this belief in just do good. And how do you do that? Well, I believe there's two things to always look at. One is, what are you doing? And two is, how are you doing it? There's a lot of people that can do the what very well. That's important. What's more important is how they do it. And we really, really emphasize the how. We focus on the how. Someone's what might not be a 10 on 10. They might only be an 8 on 10. Do they have the aptitude? Do they have the competency? Can they be developed? So what can be developed? The how, you have it. In some cases, maybe it can be taught, but if you have the how, you're going to work well with us. You're going to fit in well. And that's what we focus on. It's, do you have the right intent? Our values are our pillars, right? So integrity, quality, and community. Those three values are non-negotiables. So when I talk about the how, do you fit into the how related to integrity? Do you fit into the trust that we need to have, and quality that's required? And do you actually care about the community? Do you see the person coming into your store as a dollar sign, or do you see them as a part of the community that you want to improve their day? The latter is what we're focused on.
So that's so important that people have to align, right? Because it's the one experience that someone has where it's out of alignment with the brand and what you're trying, the message you're trying to pull through.
And
then
look,
people
again,
have that.
let's go back to reality. Not everyone's going to fit. And fortunately or unfortunately, that's how business works, right? And so we, especially when you're growing at the rate that we are, we've gone from a team of 2, Noor and I, to a team of 40 in 20 months.
That's incredible.
Not everyone is going to be a perfect fit, and you're going to have some misreads. And with that, it's like, okay, well, can an individual that didn't initially fit, can we figure it out and they'll get there? Or is it just not going to work? And there is this concept, the leadership principle of hire fast, fire faster. And sometimes you have to do that. And that's business, right? So there's always this balance of the romantic side of life of how you'd like things to be and the optimism there. But then there's also just the practicality of we move fast and you have to make decisions just as fast.
Just as fast. And how are you training your employees? Like, what do you do together? I don't know if it's the community events or at the actual store. Are you working alongside them? How does that work? Or do you have, some?
Yes. I mean, we're our mindset in terms of how we built this from the beginning has always been to build an organization, right? This is not intended to be one store or 3 stores or 6 stores or 10 stores. I mean, we're just getting started. So it's an organization that needs to be developed. And obviously my prior corporate background really helps me with visioning that. So it all starts with developing a leadership team and a core team and essentially ensuring that they are all trained to be able to carry forward the vision. And then each of them now start to build out their organizations. And through that, you build out an org chart where at different levels of leadership, those individuals are responsible for building out their teams. So we have a retail team with, at this case, right, 6 stores in New Jersey. So it's a district manager. District manager has their managers. They train them. Corporate, same thing. Obviously, Noor and I are more involved in corporate, but I'm in retail, stopping by each store probably at least once a week, if not twice a week, just dropping.
Oh, wow.
So just about everyone on the staff has my cell phone number. And they're welcome. They're free to call me whenever they want to. They're free to give my number out to guests that come into the store that want to chat. So I like to keep it very intimate and very close. The closer I am to the front line, the more in touch I will be with what's going on and what's not working and how do we fix that, and what is working and how do we do more of that. So fingertip always has to be on the pulse.
I'm curious because it just, doing that, I think it's more as fast as you guys have grown. It still must have been like what I see when I'm working with leaders of any level, frontline supervisors, managers, CEOs, the delegation piece. That is what everyone struggles with. Are there any tips that you would give to others in how to do that? Because for you, it wasn't a 20-year span, it's 4 years, and you were intimately involved, and now it's less, but you're still so involved, but you're not in a store, right? For example.
Yeah, no, I'm deeply involved, but to your point, no, I'm not in the store. But communication, it honestly, it all comes down to effective communication. I genuinely believe that almost everyone wants to do the right thing.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
if we are effective in terms of how selective we are with who to bring onto the team, we should have the confidence that they all want to do the right thing. Now, are we giving them the tools to do the right thing? Are we setting expectations effectively? Are we managing them the right way and giving them appropriate feedback? And that all comes down to really, really basic human interaction and human communication. If you go into it with this mindset of they're lazy, they don't care, they're whatever,
Yeah.
right? That bias, if you start with that bias, you're never going to go forward. But I genuinely believe that everyone in our organization wants to do well with us. As long as we believe in them, they believe in us, and we have this common trust. Again, like I said, for the most part, that gets us there. And you always have your 80-20, your 90-10, and that's what you have to manage for.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point. What you said is communication, right? Because I think that's being able to either delegate tasks or just having you giving out your number so people can reach out to you at any time and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this one person, or I don't know how to deal with this situation, is doing that, but also allowing them to fail and then communicating. That's such a great point. And I say that very often, very similar to what you said about, most of the people are really great and just go in with the lens that they're trying their best. They're not trying to make your life miserable or do something terrible. They're really trying their best. Yeah. And how do you just coach for that performance?
Absolutely.
That's great. So when you or any of the employees or leadership team, is there a certain way that you handle setbacks in the business, setbacks that they have? Is there a process that you have?
If there's a problem, fix it quickly. And there always will be, right? Like I said earlier, nothing's perfect. Nothing ever will be perfect. But how do you continue to take steps in the right direction and continue to progress and continue to gradually improve? And if you see something's not working, don't sit and watch it. Address it. Address it directly, head on. And you might not fix 100% of it, but hey, if you can fix 50% of it, and then the next 20, and then the next 20, and then you're only left with 10, you're making progress.
Absolutely. Oh, a couple questions just for you. When husband, father, co-founder, all the things that you're doing, fitness, taking care of yourself, your kids, what do you do? I never think there's a secret. I think it's just a discipline and it's a focus. What's something that you do every single day without fail? I would say really that, because I think resilience is so important. And sometimes that is a daily practice of meditation, whatever that is. I mean, for me, it's exercise. But for you, what is that?
We are extremely simple, Noor and I. Very simple in terms of what our lifestyle is and what we do day in and day out. There's very few to-dos for us, right? If you look at our life, there is family, there's spirituality, there's business, and there's movement. Okay. And I don't believe in this concept of balance, like the whole idea of work-life balance. I don't think there is such a thing, because different days have different demands and different requirements. But as long as across those 4 pillars we have harmony, we're good. Yeah. We're good. Yeah. And so essentially, as long as we're feeding each of those 4 every single day, and there's harmony across that, we're good.
Yeah. I love that. The harmony piece. I think that it's we do ourselves a disservice when we think that there's going to be balance every day. Some days are going to be more family focused. I love what you said, simplicity, and that may be a lesson for many of us. I know it's something that you made me think, keeping things more simple, reducing decision fatigue, all that, right? Yeah. Not having to make so many decisions every day. Yeah. For you, I would imagine, for your family, for the business, there's a legacy that you and Noor want to build and leave behind in many, many years to come? Like, what is that? I know, like, is there something that you're striving to build as far as a legacy? Is it behind your principles? Like 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years, someone says, what was AthletiFreak? What is that?
It's twofold, right? There's going to be the how it makes people feel.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of how it makes people feel, AthletiFreak is and will continue to be known on a much larger scale as the brand that brings people together and empowers them to do great things. That's how we see the brand, and fortunately how most of the individuals that have adopted the community see the brand, right? We'll get these messages that say, I wore my powerful tank today and I felt confident.
Oh, I love
And that's
that.
what we want, because greatness does lie within, and we're all capable of doing things that we may even doubt ourselves, but the capabilities are there. And if we can empower that confidence to achieve greatness in our own capacities, as a brand, that's what we want to do. As far as on a business level, we will be a national and then global brand. And 30, 40, 50 years from now, my grandkids should be immersed in the brand, right? And I was teasing my son, and we were just talking about college, and he'll be going to college in a couple of years, and asking him what city he wants to go to. And I was like, oh, by then we'll probably have stores there too.
That's so cool.
And just continue to build that out. And essentially that's the vision.
So the vision is to be a global brand.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a doubt that's going to happen. And I cannot believe all this is in 4 years.
Yeah. Well, we're just getting started. Long way to go.
Oh my gosh. But just all of that. And yeah, I definitely would be visiting the Edison store. I saw the espresso colored hoodie. I'm excited seeing all the different colors.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I remember when I first bought the first hoodie, I'm like, I hope they have other colors. I'll buy one of everything in this hoodie.
Careful what you wish for.
Well, I'll be spending a lot of money there. That's really awesome. Just, I love how it's constantly evolved, and you guys have evolved. And, again, not a doubt that, all of this, you said you're blessed, but other people are blessed by, meeting you, what you've created as far as the brand. I mean, you guys are just meeting you. I mean, I have like I sense energy of people, and I was like, wow, like you both are just amazing, incredible humans. And it is so clear why your brand has blown up. People just want to be part of it. So,
that is so sweet.
It's really amazing.
Very sweet of you, Radia. Thank you.
It's 100% truth. That's why I kept messaging you. I was like, I need to have him on.
Thank you.
And it's been really amazing this year, just interviewing so many husband-wife teams, and it's happened by accident. And it's just amazing how, when you figure it out, you guys work together as a team, and you make some incredible things happen.
There's so much power there. And what's really interesting about Noor and I is we are absolute polar opposites. Her and I have two things in common. We both like chocolate and coffee. And three things. We love our kids. Outside of that, we have absolutely nothing in common. We're complete opposites.
No way, really?
And somehow we fit together so well. And it comes back to the first thing I mentioned. It's just this mutual respect that we have for each other. I think she's just an incredible, amazing human, and professionally so talented. And I can't but respect that. And fortunately, she tolerates me. So I think with that combination, we're good.
Great. Well, you put two very, very talented people together, right? Like with her, I'm not surprised, right? Her background, the attention to detail is amazing. Mm-hmm. And not a doubt people see that when they go in the store and meet you guys and see that you're so focused on detail. Any last final, I'm going to definitely link in the stores, just any way to be in touch with you guys, because I'm such a big believer in the brand, and I feel like other people need to know about it too. Any advice you would give to other people that are just thinking about trying something different on their own, even if it's a side hustle type thing? What advice might you give them?
Again, very simplistic in my thinking, right? If you have a dream, if you have a vision, go for it. Go for it. Don't hesitate. Don't think. Just go. Yeah. Do it the right way. Be very intentional about how you do it, but do it. With that said, most probably it's not going to be perfect. That's okay. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Consistency compounds. Just keep working on it, keep refining, keep improving. Make sure you know what your end objective is and keep following that light.
And it sounds like your values, your brand, the way you come across was all very clear too, right? Like you said, you're someone who's very authentic and what did you say in the email? Transparent to a fault, right? So I think that is also knowing yourself and how you want to align before you execute.
I mean, you can't tell other people who you are if you don't know who you are. So self-awareness is very important.
Creating that purpose. You guys obviously know what your purpose is. Yeah. Very clear about it. Super. Well, Mo, thank you so much for your time. I am so grateful. I know you have a super busy schedule and to spend an hour with me. I feel like so super honored. I'm really excited just to share this message. I think people need to kind of hear it right from you, and it's exciting. And I'm so just blown away at how you guys have grown. It's pretty incredible.
Well, look, it's because of individuals like yourself that supported us from day one and have continued to just join the community since then. And we're most grateful for that. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the amazing discussion today. And I look forward to hearing back.
Oh, thank you so much.